All right, good morning, and thanks for joining us with Coffee with the Seniors. We are starting a little bit differently today. You all saw yesterday, or hopefully you saw, that we will be opening up for our Saturday groups. We will start actually a week from today, and then everybody else will start that Monday, the 29th. So to kind of celebrate that, the first thing we did is bring all of our coaches together today so that we can kind of train, get ready, and bring everybody together to make sure that we can see how everything flows. So I'm going to go ahead and have all of our coaches come in. Yeah, they're going to come in. They're going to come in behind me now. But this is the first time our coaches have been together as well during this time. So we're excited to see each other, but we are masked up. We will sit. You'll see a few of us, and I'll change the direction maybe as we go through here. But they're excited to see you guys and to come all together. I also want to give a quick shout out to all of our fathers out there, a little bit early, but happy Father's Day to all of our fathers out there. Hope you're watching and celebrating this along with all of us. So I think we are, hopefully my internet's not too bad. I think we are ready to go. Again, I thank you all for joining us. This has been exciting, and every week we keep hearing how much people are enjoying these speeches. And seniors, I know you're nervous and I know it's scary, but just remember, they're just sharing your feelings. All you're doing is sharing your experiences, and that's what you know, and you're the only one that knows. So just share what you know. For the rest of us, we get the honor of enjoying these speeches and just listening to everything that they've learned along the way and everything that they're grateful for. And I always appreciate that. So for us to start off with, we will have Kailee Ruiz, a backstroker and freestyler in the national group. She's attending UC Davis in the fall. So first up for us is Kailee.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Kailee Ruiz. I'll be attending UC Davis in the fall, and I've been on Rose Bowl for 7 years. I used to live in Ventura, so I joined many years after my teammates. Despite this, I've made so many memories on this team as if Rose Bowl's always been my second family. I was first introduced to this team when I went to this summer clinic with my friend on my old team. Just two random 10-year-olds learning how to swim with a group of girls who were all close friends. And I'm so lucky to be able to call all of those girls my friends and teammates now. Also at this clinic, the first coach my dad and I met was Coach Hector. We were explaining how I was moving to Rose Bowl in the upcoming season. I don't remember the exact conversation, but he was able to make me, a scared little girl who has never moved teams before, somehow believe I had nothing to worry about. Although I have never had you as a coach, I truly admire the way you help every swimmer to become better both in the water and as a person. On Tuesdays, when we used to have the 13-14 goal group volunteer to assist coaches during practice, I would always sign up for your group because of how much I admire the way you view every swimmer. You talked about each person so highly and saw the greatest potential in each and every one of them. You saw a clear path for your swimmers and set them up for success. And even if I never got to experience this from you myself, I don't need to have you as a coach to know that you are someone to look up to. So thank you, Coach Hector, for being the coach I've always wanted but never had. To my first coach, Coach Christine, thank you for shaping me into the swimmer I am now. I truly believe my swimming flourished under your coaching. Honestly, starting in your group was absolutely intimidating. I was a month away from turning 11 in your 11-12 gold group with an Olympic gold medalist coach who wouldn't be nervous. You pushed me when I didn't want to be pushed, yelled at me when I needed to be yelled at, and you even put me in the long distance group with Maya, Will, and Johanna, which is totally ironic because now a 200 is long for me. Most importantly, though, you supported me and had so much faith in my potential when I lost faith in myself. You would have thought that having you as my coach for the longest time would mean that I don't mind moving up to other coaches. But every day I see your group and I miss it so much. You have no idea how great it was to have you as a coach during the 2019 NCSAs, even if it was only for a short week. I never had the chance to tell you this before, but I hope you know that I really appreciate you and everything you have done for me. Thank you for deciding to be a coach after your career and thank you for being my coach. There's a quote that says, "It's not about the destination, but rather the journey you take to get there." I remember when I was 15 and Coach Jeff Klotz's group. I was so close to winter juniors in the 100 back, so I went to Kevin Perry as a last chance to try to make the cut in the 100 back. In prelims, I dropped, but not enough to get it. And when I swam in finals, I ended up adding. In response, Jeff Klotz said to me, "You're focusing too much on the time. The time will come when you're ready." Because of this one thing you've said to me, it has changed the way I approach my races and came to realize that the best races are when I stop thinking about what I'm doing and just do my best. A year later, I made the cut despite adding a second in my 100 fly only an hour before my 100 back and trying to get the cut in either one of those events. All I had to do was let go and fight to the finish. Coach Jeff, you are by far one of the best coaches to talk to, and there's never an awkward silence between you and whoever you are talking to, even with me, who can be shy and quiet. You're not afraid to be real and not just tell me what I want to hear, and just because of that, you are not. You've told me things that really changed my life for the better, and I will never forget it. Because of you, I've learned to make the most out of every year, month, week, day, and second. You never know what will happen in the future, but if you make the most out of what you do right now, the future won't seem so scary anymore, and you can assure yourself that you will live a great life. Especially right now with the pandemic unexpectedly coming into our lives, it doesn't stop our team from having Zoom practices or staying in our cars and driving to someone's house to congratulate them or wishing them a happy birthday. No matter how big of a hurdle life throws at us, I want to say thank you to my friends for making my experience here at Rose Bowl unforgettable. It was really about the journey for me, because when I see every single person I know, I don't see them as someone I can't see because of quarantine. I see all the wonderful memories I have with them, and I tell myself every day I'm lucky to have everyone in my life. Without my teammates, I don't know how I'd survive practice. It's important to find friends that motivate you to come to practice, but it's even better when you have a coach whose presence on the deck adds to that. Coach Caitlin, thank you for just being you. I can't believe that it's only been a year since you started coaching me, but the impact you've made on me is as if you've been there since day one of my time at Rose Bowl. I don't know how you do it, but I'm glad there is someone in this world like you who knows how to say the right thing at the right time. I admire your determination to know every swimmer you come across and make them feel acknowledged. Before you were my coach, I was always scared of voicing my feelings and concerns about anything. Now here I am crying to you at swim meets because of how much I value you and setting up Zoom calls with Angelica to talk about the events happening in our world. I really, really, really am going to miss you, Coach Caitlin, and I wish you the best on the new and exciting chapters in your life. Coach Jeff Julian, I couldn't ask for a better coach to end my high school swimming career with. You helped me grow into a better swimmer more than I could ever imagine. Day in and day out, you remind me of the things I need to hear to be a confident and consistent swimmer. My junior year was by far one of the best seasons of my career here at Rose Bowl. I finally felt like I was able to piece everything together. My strokes, my underwaters, my starts, and most importantly, my consistency. And through that entire time, you were there, improving my swimming even more and cheering me on. You were there for me at my lowest times too, when I couldn't swim for a month because I sprained my elbow during the relay at juniors and couldn't kick because of the tendonitis in my ankle. I lost all of my confidence and motivation because I felt weak, but you helped me realize that being out of the water and observing swimming from a different perspective, it will actually make me a different swimmer. This is also why I don't feel like I'm at a total loss here in quarantine, because it's giving me another chance to focus on the things I can do out of the water that will make me a better swimmer when I get back in. So both now and at my lowest points, you're there for me and manage to improve my swimming and cheer me on even more. Lastly, I'd like to thank my parents for being my number one supporters in everything I do. I couldn't have made it this far without you. Even my choice to go to Davis was because so many of my family members have attended and created this school into an enjoyable place where I feel most comfortable spending my next 4 years creating memories. Thank you for raising me in a house next to the ocean and putting me in swim lessons so I wouldn't drown. I don't even want to think about how different my life would be if I grew up in a town without a body of water. All I know is that I couldn't have asked for a better way to spend my time here. No matter how we have all started this sport, whether it's because of your parents, your environment, or simply just because you wanted to, I'm glad every one of us are here, because together we all create unforgettable memories that make us proud to be a part of this team. Thank you to everyone, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Awesome. Thank you, Kailee. That was good. Yeah, let's stop. We can actually have some applause here. That was wonderful. Thank you, Kailee. There. All right. Up next we have Jessica Ordaz. Jessica is a butterflyer IMer in the national group and is attending Pacific Lutheran University in the fall. So with that, Jessica.
All right, hello. My name is Jessica, and I've been swimming for the Rose Bowl for about 12 years now. I still can't believe that these are my last few months before I go off to college. I always remember wanting to be older. I would be 10 and under. I want to know what it felt like to be 11. Once I was 11, I wanted to be 13, then 15. Now I turn 18 in one day, and I wish I had enjoyed the 100 I am more. My 10th grade English teacher once said, "The days drag, but the weeks fly by." And I've never heard a more true statement. There were always days when I just wanted to go home. I felt extremely unmotivated and tired, and sometimes I would think that if my 6-year-old self knew what she was getting herself into when she joined the Rose Bowl, she never would have. I know now that joining was not a bad move. It was hands down the best decision I could have ever made. I would have never learned the lessons I've learned or developed the tough skin I have now, the dedication or the will to push my mind and body to new limits every single day. Just when I thought it couldn't get harder, the coaches always found a way to do just that. And I couldn't be more grateful to be proved wrong day after day. It all started with Coach James. He was the one who not only got me hooked on the sport, but who also first taught me discipline. I was an extremely misbehaved child. I would go underwater every time he would explain a set, and I would distract everyone around me because I couldn't focus more than 3 seconds. He showed me how to balance friends and swimming, and I'm so glad he taught me that discipline before I had my first encounter with Coach Christine. I don't even want to know what she would have thought of my 6-year-old self. The next coach I remember having was Coach Hector. This is where my butterfly really took off. He transitioned me from a novice swimmer to a full-blown machine. I remember always joking around with him, and there were always lots of smiles. This was definitely my weird phase. I was an extremely odd child, as I'm sure he and many of my early friends can attest to. I would blow up my suit and float around like a buoy. I was extremely loud and obnoxious, and I'm thankful for him always putting up with me. Then came Christine. I've never been more terrified of someone before, but it's okay because it was a healthy fear and just what I needed. I can't even describe the way it felt to hear your name being yelled underwater. It was always my streamline. I would push off the wall like Superman, and if it weren't for the constant corrections, I would still be doing it. As terrified as I was of her, it's the only reason why I'm the swimmer I am today. She made sure I was always focused on the details, because if I wasn't, I would get yelled at and have to restart. I thought that after Coach Jeff became my coach, I would be safe from her wrath, but little did I know I would still get yelled at after practice for not wearing shoes. I never wear shoes, so this happened quite often. This leads me to Coach Jeff. I was really excited to have a coach whose best stroke was my best stroke. I knew my fly was going to reach new heights under him, and it certainly did, and I have those dreaded stroke sets to thank. I hated swimming fly while I could see backstrokers next to me not swimming fly. You don't know jealousy unless you're a butterflyer. But that jealousy quickly turned into pride. Butterfly is the hardest stroke, no question. I might be a little biased, but it's still extremely difficult nonetheless. Coach Jeff built my confidence, and he strengthened my mind in doing so. I became not only physically tough, but mentally tough. I learned that swimming was actually more mental than physical, and having that growth mindset is not an easy thing to learn, and I owe mine all to him. It turns out that it doesn't actually get easier, you just get stronger. And then there's Coach Caitlin. She was my final step in becoming who I am today. She showed me how to always look at the brighter side, which is extremely important in swimming, because it can get very frustrating if you don't. It's looking at what you did wrong and finding a way to be better, instead of dwelling on the fact that you stumbled a little. There's no such thing as failure unless you give up. So just as long as you keep moving forward, steps back are not failures. And this helped me take full advantage of every single practice. As soon as it starts to get hard and you're not going as fast as you think you should be, focus on something you can control. You can't control how you feel, but you can control how it affects you. And you can't control how fast you're going sometimes, but you can control how much effort you put in, and that should always be 110%. I'm so incredibly grateful for every coach I've had because they've all taught me new things, and I wouldn't be where I am without the contributions of every single one of them. And last but not least, my friends and family. If it wasn't for my grandma, I would have never made it to practice. I'm really going to miss singing Jason Derulo at the top of my lungs and her singing along with me all the way to the pool. And of course, my mom, for always listening when I wanted to tell her about practice, and for basically allowing me to swim here all these years. If it wasn't for her, I would not have only never found the sport, but I wouldn't have been able to swim for the Rose Bowl because I could not have afforded it on my own. Then there are the people who made every practice and meet not just bearable, but so much fun. One of my favorite memories has to be a recent 200 freestyle relay. I can always get super pumped up for relays, and I perform my best when I'm just excited to get in and beat someone. To let my mind go, trust the process, and swim. I was about to dive off, and Emily Geisler was in the lane next to me. Both of the swimmers in our lanes were coming in at the same time, and the only thought I had was that I had to beat her. I looked over to her with my goggles on and said, "I'm going to destroy you." Then we both dove off, and I just started swimming as hard as I could, not focusing on breathing or kicking or power because I knew I had all those things down. My only concern was beating her. And I touched the wall first, and we laughed about it. I went to talk to the coaches with the relay, and it turns out that I had the fastest split. If I remember correctly, I went at 23.5, so I beat my best time by almost a whole second. And if it weren't for Geisler and everyone else on the relays, I wouldn't have been able to swim that fast or have that much fun. There are so many more memories like that, but I can't list them all because it would take way too long. But if it weren't for the entire national group, I would have no idea how I would have survived every 200 fly or challenge set. Thank you, everyone, for making my 12 years here the best 12 years of my life. And I wish you all luck on the rest of your journeys. Thank you.
All right, you had all of your memories in there, as well as so many stories or so many so many lessons that you learned along the way. Thank you, Jessica, for sharing all of that. All right, next up we will have, I should tell you, I am wearing the mask. We are all together at the center, so we are working. So just like when we come back, we will be wearing masks and we will be socially distanced so that we can operate safely in this environment, but everybody coming through. So that is why I'm wearing the mask, especially since we're inside with everybody here. Okay, up next is Nickey Hale. She's going to be our last senior for today. She's a freestyler IMer in the senior growth group. She is headed to PCC in the fall with plans to transfer after a couple years there. So with that, Nickey.
Thanks, Coach. Hi, guys. I'm Nickey Hale. I've been swimming at Rose Bowl for about 10 years, and before that, I was a BMX dirt bike rider. I started swimming because of my brother wanting to try something different, then I ended up wanting to do it too. Went from practicing butterfly in the gutter lane to swimming the mile on my own in multiple meets. I don't have many memories of the hundreds of races I've done over the years. Most of the races that were memorable because of the people that were there. One of my favorite races was when I had to do the mile long course on my own at Lake Forest. I thought the coaches were joking when they said they would get everyone to cheer for me. Yeah, they weren't joking. Everyone was on the side of the pool cheering for me. And another was when everyone in my group had to do the 200 fly for the first time, and all of us went into the event absolutely dreading it. But once we came out of the event, everybody had the same expression, like, that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I want to thank all my teammates for pushing me to get through all of the rough practices and hectic meets. I want to thank all my coaches for teaching me that not everything is about the time. It's about how you can work to improve day to day. I want to thank my best friend Holly for always lifting me up in the worst of times and for always being at the end of my line for any race. I want to thank my brother for being as ecstatic about a best time as I am. And lastly, I want to thank my mom for always being there at meets for both club and high school. Out of all the meets and hundreds of races, she's only missed 7 or 8 of my races. Thank you for taking me to all of the countless amounts of practices you've driven me to, even if I didn't want to get out of bed. And most of all, I want to thank you for being my biggest supporter in all of my journey. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you, Nickey. Thank you, seniors. Again, you did a phenomenal job this morning. And thank you for being willing to share all of your memories and stories and just everything that you're grateful for. We really appreciate it. I know I do. But I hear from so many people that have really appreciated all of your stories. So thank you for sharing with us. So now we want to go into kind of some questions for you. I have not been able to, it's a little bit different managing today, trying to step out of the way. So I haven't checked the chat yet, but go ahead and send any questions through the chat. I'll start with some of the questions that we've gone through for our seniors. For really any of you, have you heard, with everything going on with COVID and everything, have you heard anything about the fall for you in terms of colleges and what's next for you? Anybody?
The question, I didn't really get it.
Have you heard, is PCC, for instance, going to run classes in the fall normally, or have you heard anything? And Kailee and Jessica, are you still on?
Yeah, I'll go. So I'm like 80% sure that we're just doing classes normal, like we're going there in the fall and having all classes in person.
All right, great.
Ours are going to be hybrid. They said most of our classes will be available online, but some of the smaller ones will be in person.
Okay. So you should be able to be there for sports.
I'm pretty sure that all my classes will be online for the fall semester, but next year they'll probably be like a class setting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Moving off of classes or anything impacted, what are you guys excited most for heading to college? Outside of the changes and the differences, what were you most excited about for your next steps?
I'm really excited to actually take classes that I want to take. So this is kind of where I actually get to start deciding what I want to do when I grow up. So actually taking classes I like instead of just English. So
yeah,
I'm really excited for that.
That's great. We love it. The coaches love that answer.
I'm excited to be in a new environment. Davis is, a really small college town. So I'm excited to be in a new environment, try new things, and then meet new people. And then if I want to, San Francisco is only an hour away, and then Sacramento is 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's great. Nickey?
I think I'm most excited about just getting out of high school and actually making my own choices for like what classes I want to take, what I want to do for a job, and like having more freedom.
That's great. Just taking that next step in life. Oh, that's great. Speaking of it, and Jessica, you alluded to classes that you want to take. Do you guys know what you want to study, or kind of even the idea of what you're pointed towards?
Well, I know, I've known for quite a while though, like since 10th grade, but I want to be an environmental engineer. So, I mean, just mainly like the environmental part is what I'm focused on, but I also really like math and stuff. So I figured engineering. I just want to be able to like move us into the greener future, I've always been really fascinated with the environment and stuff. So that's what I want to do.
We need it. Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
For me, I'm currently majoring in philosophy and psychology for a pre-law route, but I'm planning on changing it to more of like a pre-med route. Med school doesn't care about what you major in as long as you have the prereqs. So I'm still thinking of a major, that I'd be interested in taking, but maybe a language. I'm not sure.
Okay. You have some time still. Nickey, any ideas?
I was planning on majoring in marine biology.
Oh, very cool. I love that. That was almost what I went into as well. How about anything that you haven't shared? I know the stories also hit a number of your favorite memories, but any favorite Rose Bowl memory that you guys want to share? Something fun just really sticks out for you.
Well, I kind of have one. I always kind of think about it. I was at Far Western. I think it was 2013. I don't think Coach Christine was my coach yet, but I had a candy obsession when I was a little kid. So my mom gave me a little bit of money for the trip, and I spent it all on these really long, I don't even know what they were, but it was just candy, and my mouth was constantly just blue. And I remember having to talk to Coach Christine, like my lips were blue, my tongue was blue. Yeah, I always remember that, just eating a whole bunch of candy and trying to hide it from Coach Christine, but I couldn't because it was all over my face.
That's cool. Kailee or Nickey?
For me, a team memory I have that's so funny to me still is my first year when I joined the team. We had summer JOs in Riverside, and we were doing the thing at finals where we do the one clap every time a name from our team is called. And since I was still somewhat new, I kind of forgot about this. So when Kailee's name was called, I started continuously clapping and just started cheering, "Yay, Kailee!" And I was super embarrassed.
That's funny. Yes, we have our one clap before finals. Nickey, do you have one?
Probably like any of the like Palm Springs or any of like the Raging Waters. Just like any of those trips, because they were always just so fun to hang out with your team like all weekend. Just have fun with your friends. Also like race.
Sure. Awesome. That's very cool. Thank you. So I think I saw one question come through the chat. Jessica, for butterfly, what is your favorite butterfly set?
Well, I really like the one of the challenge sets, the best average. It's really hard to get that right, but when you do, it feels really good, and then you can just keep building on it. You know where you are, so it's really easy to see you improve, and it's a lot of fun getting a little bit faster each time.
Nice. I always like that one as well. Nickey or Kailee, do you have a favorite set? Not necessarily butterfly.
I just remember like really bad sets, like really like hard sets to do for me that ended up getting easier as we went along. Like we had to do, I think it was supposed to be 12 400 IMs, but we did 9, and by like number 5 I was actually starting to get into a good rhythm, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, no, I think that sounds hard for anybody. So coaches, do you guys have any questions for them? No? All right. I'll check. I'm not seeing the chat come up on my screen. I'm projecting it for the coaches to see everything as well. So I think that's it. Seniors, again, thank you. You did a phenomenal job this morning, and I can't thank you enough for sharing your story and for being a part of our team for all of these years. Yeah, all of you have been here for a while and really kind of spent your careers here. and we thank you for that. You're always a Rose Bowl swimmer in our hearts. So thank you for being a part. All the families, thank you for joining us. We're excited to start, again, our Saturday groups. 1 week from today, we'll be in the water. Everybody else is Monday, the 29th. We will start. And yeah, a lot of information to come, but thank you for being a part, and go Rose Bowl.